All right, YouTube, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. It is Tuesday, May 13th. We got two NBA playoff games to dive into in today's video like we always do. I'm going to dive into both of these games. I'm going to give you my prediction on the side. I'll give you my prediction on the total. We'll talk about any other plays like player props that we like within the game as well. But as always, guys, keep an eye down on the pinned comment of this video. That'll take you to all of my final plays, so I'm actually rolling with myself. If that does interest you, it's absolutely free down in the pinned comment. All right, YouTube, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. I tell you guys I'm a dummy all the time. They don't suck. They've just been sucking. Get them down to -3 for more juice than Jose Canseco in his prime. Tell me you're new without telling me you're new. So don't go jumping down my throat in the comments, right? If you want to fade me, or if you do want to ride me, this still leaves a bad taste in my mouth, right? And remember, more chins, more wins. In terms of how we did yesterday, it was a 2-0 night. We'll take the cha-ching. Unfortunately, my internal temperature here doesn't feel like it was a great night because the Celtics lost. Now we don't really know where that series is at, right? Being a Celtics fan. Jason Tatum goes down with what appears to be a long-term Achilles injury. We don't have the MRI results yet, but yeah, kind of a sour taste in my mouth last night, even though our plays go 2-0. As a Celtics fan, it was like my heart was ripped out. Absolutely pissed off at Jaylen Brown. Even made some videos over on Twitter, which, by the way, if you guys want to follow me on my Twitter/X, it will be rotating here throughout the show, bottom left of your screen. And we're getting so many messages being like, no, Jaylen Brown is a Celtic. We have to, you know, respect him, and we have to back him in times of need. Screw that. I'm out on him. But that's another conversation for another day. I just don't get the idea of, like, you're not allowed to rag on your home team's players, right? Like, if I think a guy sucked, I'd like to be able to say that he sucked without any sort of like, oh, but he's a Celtic. I got to respect him. I got to back him. I got to support him in times of need. These guys are he's making 60+ million a year. I think I can be a little critical. All right. Back on track here. Let's dive into today's slate. Let's take some of that 2-0 momentum and bring it into today. Now, we've had a pretty good little playoff run here, right? Which is nice because we had a great regular season, not as great as last year, but I'll take any green that we can get, right? Playoffs have been tough. It's like a gladiator fight here. One big swing from the books, one big swing from us, that type of thing. But nice to see a little bit of momentum on our side. Guys, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Comment down below. Now I'm really interested because we did this a little while ago and everyone was like Celtics, right? Or OKC. Who do you guys think should win the NBA championship now? I'm sure a lot more people are thinking Indiana. A lot less people are thinking the Celtics. The Knicks may have some new people jumping on their team in terms of predicting that. So let me know who you think is going to win the NBA championship in the comments down below. Let's go ahead and dive into game number 1 here. Cleveland taking on Indiana. This has been a tough one to peg so far because though everything in front of you is saying Indiana, 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 you still sit there and think that Cleveland is the better team, right? Which is almost like the national media, I almost feel like putting us all into that trap. They've hid this Indiana team for the entire playoffs, right? They were NBA TV series in round 1. Then they even got bumped to True TV when there was conflicts in this series so far. So yeah, maybe Indiana is better than Cleveland. I would say that the Cleveland injury bug, and if you guys have been watching all year, I've kind of been saying this, that those guys don't stay healthy, right? Mobley, Garland, even Mitchell to some degree, I guess, now that we see it in front of us. But at some point, if these guys get injured, it's a whole different team. And that's just what's happening. Garland and Mobley get injured in the beginning of this series. And now Donovan Mitchell is questionable in this game. So I'm going to take what I think is the chalked approach and say, well, there's one team that looks a hell of a lot better so far in these 4 games, and they're up 3-1, Indiana. 7.5 points is a lot to give them. I'm going to lean Indiana plus the 7.5. At the very least, I feel like they can run on this Cleveland team, and we've seen that, and put up a good number, meaning if push comes to shove and they speed up the tempo, that 7.5 points could be pretty damn huge because they'll run down, say Cleveland hits a 3, they'll run down and score a 2 really quickly, that type of thing, and all of a sudden you have that 7.5 points in your back pocket. I think could look pretty good, at the end of the game. So yeah, maybe it's the easy approach, maybe it's the chalked approach, but it's been the case so far in the series, barring, what was that, game 2 or 3, in which Cleveland won handily, right? But now with no Donovan Mitchell, it's very similar to what I keep saying about the Warriors and, Steph Curry. Yes, they're still a good team without him. I mean, this Cleveland team has Garland, Mobley, Allen, Hunter off the bench, like still a very good team, but you lose your main piece in a back against the wall situation. I don't know. Guys might rally around it, but this Indiana team is just on one right now. So I'm going to lean towards Indiana. I also don't think there's any reason to consider an under. I went into this game both last night and this morning when we were trying to dig in, and I came at it from the approach of let's look at a contrarian view, because nobody's going to be expecting an under in this game because of what we keep seeing, right? It was really hard for me to find any reasoning or rationale as to why we would like to get to the under. Even in games like last game, 129 to 109, right? Indiana, shot, 43% from three, 50% from the field. Cleveland shot 43% and 40. In game number, what was the other high scoring game? Game number 2, 120 to 119. Indiana shot 52% from the field, 39% from three. Cleveland 43%, 28%. It's like they're not even shooting the absolute skin off the ball here, and they're still getting to high totals. So I can't help but lean towards an over. But I will say, and you guys know I like to be transparent with you guys, because if we don't have that, what else do we have, right? We're not that good at this. If you're looking at this game and thinking, okay, well, Indiana plus 7.5 and the over, like I am, that's honestly just kind of like the chalked approach. I feel like everybody and their grandmother's ex-boyfriend's best friend from high school is going to be on Indiana and the over today, because what we've seen in the eye test would just say that is the easy move, right? So that I'm a little worried about, and I'll be transparent about that, but it is both, the side and the total that I am on today. From a player prop perspective, Evan Mobley, I would say, is at some point due, right? Now, he only shot the ball 7 times in game number 3 there. Game number 3. I know that he should be the perfect matchup for this because of Indiana's paint defense. Indiana's paint defense hasn't been all that terrible throughout the playoffs, but still at their core, they are a better perimeter defense. Without Donovan Mitchell on this team, say he doesn't play, right? I like Evan Mobley either way, but say he doesn't play, I think there's going to be a lot of focus and a lot of pressure out on the perimeter to stop the 3 from Garland, stop the pick and roll from Garland, as well as, guys like Hunter, Strus, and anyone else on the perimeter. I do think that there could be some opportunity for both Jared Allen and Evan Mobley to have some decent games inside, especially when Cleveland's back is against the wall in this spot. How frustrating would it be for them to be like, oh man, we're missing our shots, and then they just keep chucking threes that they keep missing? They're going to want to emphasize easy buckets and layups and everything like that to try their best to keep this one close. So Evan Mobley, and I guess I would say Jared Allen as a pivot there for some sort of maybe even a same game parlay if we knock their lines down a little bit. But I do think Mobley, who so far in the games that he's been in this series, he had 20 points, 18 points, and then 10 points. His line right now is 18.5. For even odds. I believe I saw a 17.5 out there. Either way, I think either Mobley's going to have a very, very good game or kind of a nothing game. So I don't know how much that 17 or 18.5 matter when it comes to the actual line. But to me, this is a decent spot. I mean, in his last 3 games against them, again, 20, 18, and 10. Before that, he had 22 against them. And power forwards against this squad, I think we can trust to some degree just because of their emphasis on the perimeter defense. So, yeah, I think it's kind of a perfect storm for Mobley and maybe even Allen to score inside when they need buckets, because this is a winner-go-home situation for Cleveland there. On the Indiana side of things, I kind of feel like a dumb you-know-what, because I keep thinking Halliburton is going to have like a really good game, and it's crazy. That's why I start to believe that this Indiana team's very good, because Halliburton, and though he's not been bad, I'm not saying that, he's actually been really good at facilitating and whatnot, not even from an assist perspective, but just kind of keeping the flow of the game. But I liked his points in game number 3. I liked his points in game number 4. He had 4 points and 11 points in those 2 games. And they still went out there and played really well in game number 4. So now that his line's dropped to 16.5, yeah, I do like it, but am I the idiot in the room being like, oh, that's their best player, this team's playing well, let's roll with them? Like, is it just kind of like me taking Indiana plus the points and the over? Is that too chalked to think that Halliburton could score 17 points today in a closeout type game? That's what I like on the Indiana side of things. But again, this series has been really tough to peg, because every time you sit there and want to take Indiana, you're like, but Cleveland is so damn good. right? But guys, let's go ahead and talk to you about Prize Picks and Taco Tuesday before we do move on to game number 2. If you have not tried out Prize Picks yet and you're under a rock, what are you doing? They have so many deals and promos going on for the NBA playoffs right now, and it is Taco Tuesday today. If you guys don't know what Taco Tuesday is, it's one of the best promos out there, and they've done it for so long, really putting their footprint on the map there. If that's a saying, it is now. What it is they take multiple players throughout the day and discount their line, so it's easier for people like you and me to hit our squares over there. So go ahead and check out Prize Picks right now. You sign up using the code code GuyBoston or the link in the description as well as the pinned comment. You're gonna play $5, get $50 absolutely free instantly. You 10x that $5 right away into your account. If you hit that $5 entry, you get that payout as well. You're well on your way to having a nice little bankroll there in Prize Picks. So go ahead and check it out, guys. All you have to do is pick more or less based on player set projections. The more you win, the more you're going to get paid out. That link, again, will be in the description as well as the pinned comment. I'm sure you've seen Prize Picks all over and you've thought about it. If you've thought about it, now you see it today, go ahead and check it out. Again, you play $5, you get $50. Absolute no-brainer. You pretty much have nothing to lose there. You're 10xing that one entry. So go check it out. That link will be down below in the description as well as the pinned comment. All right, OKC taking on Denver. This series has been good. I went back and forth on what to do in this one. I think ultimately I'm looking at the underdog yet again, Denver plus the 10.5 points. But where I really want to go, and if you guys have been watching the last couple of weeks, you probably know OKC first quarter. Right now, we got to go look at 2.5 here, but I think this could be a spot in which we really do like. OKC on the season, minus 2.5 in the first quarter, covered in 56% of their games. Denver plus 2.5, they did cover in 67%, but head-to-head, I don't necessarily think that this is a question as to who has been looking really good, when in the first quarter. So I think this is another spot which we can like OKC, but if you flip back to the last couple times we've played this, it's because OKC is so good at covering that first quarter on the road. Now they're at home. Those numbers, like I said, 56 is still a strong number, but it does dip a little bit. So yeah, comment 1Q, so first quarter, right? Q1, 1Q, whatever you want in the comments to let me know if you do think that that is a good spot or if I'm just kind of like in my own head because we've cashed that 2 or 3 times already in the playoffs. But I do like OKC again coming out hot. They've been coming out hot these last couple times that we've taken it, right? Let's take a peek at their last 3 first quarters. 45-21, 28-22, and then 17-8 yesterday. In game number 1, that's the only one that we didn't look at there. Would you look at that? They won 27-26. So did they cover that number? No, but they still won the first quarter. So they've won the first quarter in all of the games so far in this series. So I sit there and I'm like, yeah, maybe this is a spot to consider it again. I mean, against Memphis, I believe they won 3 of the 4 first quarters as well. So OKC is just a phenomenal first quarter team. My concern is that Denver, after a loss, is now the team that comes out fired up and ready to go. You know what I mean? And OKC obviously winning all 4 first quarters so far. At some point, the other shoe's going to drop. That's where my head's at because I do think this OKC team can jump on it way quicker than Denver can. Denver seems like the slow burn team, whereas OKC gets out to like a 10-point lead in the first quarter and holds on to that for a while until Denver comes back a little bit later in the game. It seems like that's been the series so far. But I do think that 10.5 points is far too much to be giving Jokic and the Nuggets here in this spot. No major injuries on either side either. So yeah, you have a fully healthy team. Do I think OKC wins this game at home? Probably, and they've shown that they can take a punch in the mouth, right? If this was OKC a year ago, and when they kind of dwindled towards the end of the year and then bounced early and that type of thing, I don't think that they would have been able to, swallow that game 1 loss or that kind of blow up in game 3. That would really throw them off track, but they've bounced back really well both times, so I expect them to be able to take the majority of these games in this series, like I've been saying. So I'm going to lean Denver plus the 10.5 points, but I wouldn't be surprised if OKC wins this one, just in like a closer margin, 5 to 8 points, that type of a thing. When it comes to a total, we've seen 2 straight unders, but this now line has jumped very, very drastically. So far in this series, we've seen 229.5 went over, right? 230.5 that went over. Then we saw 232, it took overtime, that still didn't go over, and then 228, and that went under. So we have 2 overs, 2 unders. Things are definitely slowing down between these two teams. That being said, we look at OKC at home this year, and 61.4% of their games have gone over. Denver on the road, 56.5. So though I do think these teams may be slowing it down and everything like that, OKC at home, I believe, is going to, up the tempo and up the pace. When we look at these two teams playing each other in OKC head-to-head to this line, the overs hit in 58% of the games. When OKC is home, I guess I should have said in this spot, 83% of their last 6, so I think that's 5 of their last 6. So yeah, I'm probably leaning towards the over 220.5. My concern, and I like to give you guys both sides of it, is we like the over because the lines have been so high, but that's a drastic jump, or I guess step down from, most recently 228.5 down to 220, right? Like, that's a little worrisome if you ask me, but still, I do kind of trust the home away splits there. I like the over in this one, 220.5. That's -110 over on DK right now. Everywhere else, it's in the -1 teens, -115, -117. So few cents of value if we jump on that somewhat early. So yeah, I think that's exactly what we're going to do. I believe this is going to probably bump to 221. I would imagine, throughout the day and definitely after this video comes out as well. So yeah, I'll take the over, as well as, again, Denver plus 10.5 and potentially OKC first quarter. But I need your help with that one. Am I getting too far down, the rabbit hole, tunnel vision, because we've cashed it 3 times? Do we need to take a break from the first quarter Thunder now? In terms of where we go player prop wise, I'm man enough to admit my player prop reads have been dicey in this one, but our game reads have been very good in this one. Like, that's a weird series in which sometimes you really got a sense of the game, but the players that are involved, not so much. I like Lou Dort. He's had 2 kind of off games, but the 3-point attempts are there, which I like. So last game, he went 2 of 10 from 3, right? His points line is only 8.5, but for 2.5 threes, he only did this in game 1 of the series, but it's at plus 160 right now. I do like Lou Dort to be able to hit a couple threes here. And then Chet Holmgren, who has been kind of getting ragged on here, his field goal attempts, he's just not shooting very well from the floor. Now, that makes sense, but this is a guy that 3 straight games now, 38%, 37%, and then I think it was 40%, but only shot 10 times. At some point, Chet Holmgren is going to get going, so I don't mind him over 14.5 points either. If I had to take something on the Denver side of things, I would continue to look at Jamal Murray, his points plus assists. Has that been coming through? I mean, I think it was 2 of the 4 games so far, it's looked good, but he's been going good game points plus assists, bad game points plus assists, good game points plus assists, bad game. He had a bad one last time out, so if he just follows his continued trend that he's literally done since, I want to say, game 5 against the Clippers, he's gone up and down, up and down, up and down. He should be trending towards a good one tonight, but I can't always just trust that roller coaster and expect him to have a good one because he had a bad one last time. But guys, that is going to wrap it up for today's show. Hopefully you guys did enjoy. Yeah, we'll probably get some comments saying 18 minutes for 2 games. Yeah, sue me. We like to talk about sports. I went a little Celtics rant at the beginning. I can talk. I understand that. And, I understand that might not be everyone's cup of tea. But for the ones that like the taste of the tea, hell yeah, love you. With that being said, we'll catch you guys in the next one, all right? Peace out. What a weird way to end the video.